It's a professional tip. Yawn when you go live. That's a podcast professional tip right there. All right. This video is brought to you by The Menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex, both for men and women, and the Book of Numbers, Analyzing the ROI of the Pursuit of Women. So go ahead and get those. And I do that now so I don't forget it later, which I always do. I have been on vacation. You all keep saying, oh, I knew you couldn't stay away from vacation. I told you I was going to do videos if and when I felt like it because, let's admit it, my job isn't a real job and sometimes it's fun. But while I out hiking around and driving in the convertible and enjoying life and taking pictures on a Tuesday day, and also listening to the book I just reviewed, Occult Feminism, written by Rachel Wilson, I was thinking about the concept of like, okay, she had to do a lot of work to write this book, a lot of research, a lot. And she also must have a psychological, maybe even an emotional, or at least an intellectual interest in it. And I know her and her husband, they're very traditional and conservative, maybe not politically, I mean that lifestyle choice. And they homeschool and they're a nuclear family. And I got to think there was a price that Rachel paid to write that book. And not a bad price, an investment, but there was a cost. She had to invest her time. She must have been perturbed enough by the feminists or way it was going to write that book. She's concerned about her children, particularly her boys. She's just concerned about the country. And I think that goes for most people tuning in because most of my audience is men. And most of you guys want to date girls. And obviously feminism has told girls not to date you. And I don't want to hear from the feminists that that's not what we said. Okay. All right. Okay. We'll just agree to disagree, huh? But then I go for a hike. And I went Norris Peak, Atham, look it up. And it's just a beautiful day, guys. Just a beautiful day. I mean, like, just put a little bit of suntan lotion on. I did my new hat with the eyes on the back so mountain lions don't attack me. I got my pistol with the chest carry in case the mountain lions attack me from the back. Then I got my gun. I can reach it while I'm rolling on the ground, and I might survive a lion attack. You see a lion while hiking, you spook a lion, you'll make some investments. Anyway, and I was sitting there thinking, why would you? We've had this thought before, but the thought really came to me. Why would we, all of us, spend another nanosecond worrying about feminism? We can write the books. I think the books have been written. We're seeing the fallout. All of us are acutely aware, at least here in the red pill community or the not mainstream. We have books, the ones I linked down below. You got Rollo Tomasi, you got Ryan Stewart, Rich. We got it. I think we got our bases covered. But one thing that we haven't been able to do, and even we know we're not going to be able to do this, I don't think we've converted one feminist or convinced one girl, not even necessarily to not go down that path. I'm like, well, you want to study feminism, go study feminism. I'm not going to stop you. But maybe it's okay if you're a stay-at-home mom. Maybe it's all right if you love your husband and put him number one. Maybe it's okay to be a girl. Maybe the number one thing in life shouldn't be an ideology based on some kind of plumbing you were born with. These are just thoughts. But, like my book, Worthless, The Young Person's Indispensable Guide to Choosing the Right Major. I mean, yeah, convince a couple thousand people, which I guess that's more than none. Okay, that's an accomplishment. But by and large, it didn't do diddly squat. It didn't do dick. It didn't even do Atham dick, a little poquito dick for a Latino audience. And we've done the good fight. And as I'm going into the last third of my life, I'm kind of thinking like, yeah, you know what? I'm not going to worry about this anymore. And I kind of figured this out because while I was hiking, there was a forest fire a while ago. You could see kind of where the dead trees were. And that was in that particular spot. But last year, there were a ton of forest fires out west. And there was, I think, one on the north side of town or north side of the Black Hills town, north side of the Black Hills. And it dawned on me that this fire, the feminism, this movement we haven't retarded, not in the mentally ill sense. I mean, in the slowing down of, we have not retarded its speed, its burn, its growth. And so also in the Black Hills, though south of where I was before, I remember hiking Harney's Peak, Atham, look it up. And there was a hill or a mountain just outside of Hill City. And I started seeing a little fire, like some smoke come off the top of it. It's very conical looking. So at first I'm like, is that a volcano? You know, I'm like, God, I hope not. And then I started looking, I'm like, oh no, that's a fire. It started small. And so I'm like, oh, my buddy I was hiking, hey, look, there's a fire down there. And they're more common than you think. This is not like a hurricane, or forest fires are very common. And so we're hiking down and we see it. It starts to envelop the whole hill. I'm like, well, this is getting kind of serious. This is many years ago when I didn't know much about forest fires. So the route we had to go through took us through Hill City. And so we're driving through and we're coming up on now the backside of that mountain. I'm like, well, they didn't have any roadblock signs. And what we saw, you could see the smoke, obviously, the entire time. We see, we're coming around now the backside of that hill. There's a stream that separates the road from that hill. And the fire is now coming down the downside of the hill. 2 or 3 fire trucks, a couple of cops, a couple of firemen. Didn't even have their gear on. Like, what's going on? And they're just looking at it. And we drove, they didn't even shut down the road. And then it dawned on me that they're like, okay, look, we could climb up that hill and put out the fire there. Or we could just wait for it to burn out, hit the stream. And if it happens to jump the stream, we'll douse it and hit it. And that's when I kind of realized, oh, forest fires aren't like this. You know, the ones that make the news are big. Yeah, because they're wiping out houses in California. Yay! Go forest fire. What team are you on, sir? Forest fire? Go forest fire. It all depends. And I think we got to approach it like firefighters approach a fire. Sometimes you just got to let it burn out. Now, in that case, it had a natural end. There was a ditch, a water thing. There was a fire break. It wasn't going to jump it or like that. But sometimes there's these massive fires, and firefighters look at it like, we can't stop it. It is so raging and so engulfing of that valley in the wind condition that there's no way we're going to stop it. We just got to let it burn out. I don't know about you, but forest fires, firefighters, it's a risky job. So if you're a forest firefighter, I think a crew of them died in Arizona not too long ago. And they got to make a judgment call. Is our life, is it worth risking our lives to fight this forest fire? Not that you're going to risk your life, but you could risk your livelihood if you critique feminism. You could. I mean, how many times, look, what's the natural response when you go and you try and tell some young lady, look, you shouldn't major in that stupid stuff. That's not going to increase your wage. You should major in engineering or this or that. What are you told? Shut up, you sexist misogynist. Don't you tell me what to do when you're actually trying to help them actually close the wage gap. Like, how many times they say, well, maybe, be thin, be hot. It's only to your advantage. It's healthy for you. You find higher quality men. And there's nothing wrong with being a housewife. No one's going to, whoa. You could lose your job over that if you're high professional enough. And again, like Worthless, really didn't stop anything. And I don't think you guys are going to stop it. No one's going to stop it. And so I think we should just let it be. I'm not charging in that fire. I mean, for academic or policy reasons, and generally, yeah, I think ladies would be better off doing it this way. But it's their life, and blah, 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 blah. But I'm glad that she wrote the book. I'm not saying that this was a waste of time. I'm not saying that Rachel wasted her time. Absolutely not. But in terms of controlling your own reaction and emotion and psychology to half the population, essentially abandoning the other half of the population and choosing a path in life that will ruin their life, whether that's a loved one, be it your daughters or your sister or a female friend or a cousin or whatever else have you. I don't know. Have you convinced one woman to not do something stupid? Have you convinced anybody not to do something stupid? Americans love doing stupid things. Should be our new motto. We do stupid things no matter what. And so, as always, say your piece, but then give up. You can't save them all. But as it pertains to this, because I think men, well, I don't think men do have a hardwired biological, emotional, sexual interest in women. Maybe it's a little bit harder for guys to give up. And maybe you're a deep philosopher. You're a good philosopher. Like, you can't major in that. That's dumb. You're going to ruin your life. Has it stopped one tree from catching fire? It hasn't. Let it burn out. Because here's the other thing. All things come to an end, good and bad. All empires collapse, new ones form, they collapse. Stars go explode and new stars form. There's always a cycle. This will end. If I had to estimate, it's going to end when men have become so disincentivized. Well, it may even precede that. What may end it is so few people are having kids, we won't be able to support society anymore, and namely its infrastructure investments or the welfare state. That'll cause the problems. So there just won't be people around. So that'll solve it. But if you really want it where we would go back to a traditional thing, we're going to have a traditional environment where there's not a welfare state, where women actually need men again. They come back to the table. Why do people not get it the first time? Why do people not get that the first time? Where's it going with that? And you also have to think, I've talked about this before. Metaphorically speaking, our institutions have been going into the force and dousing it with gasoline for decades. Every generation, boomer and later, you've had the education industry, K through college, you've had the media, you've had now more recently corporations, you've certainly had the Democrat parties, you've had academia, all just airlifting, not going up and on foot. They're airlift, except instead of those helicopters that bring water to put out the forest fire, they're bringing in gas, and they just drench the fire in gas. And I don't know who lights the metaphorical flame. Probably a teacher, probably their moms. Maybe they watched a show, I don't know. And whoosh, it goes. There's no stopping it. We didn't do anything to prevent. We couldn't have. We were all young and we're just individuals. So you're not stopping it. I mean, you're going to have to go to a different force that they haven't gotten their hands on. Like, this is where family is important. and have dads. Remember those guys? Dads, ones with ball sags. They listen, here's how it goes. Boy's a girl, nuclear family, gonna fall in love. Love is the most important thing. But I think American men haven't put up any defense, none whatsoever, because they are such weaklings, cowards, and pussies. They themselves don't even know. But if we keep turning women into not feminine women, what's going to happen? Well, men aren't going to show up for work. Men aren't, and it's already happening. The Great Resignation, yeah, if you looked at labor force participation rates, men are dropping out of society. Why? Why? I don't want. I'm not going to go to school for 4 to 6 years and study engineering and calculus and hard math to have Tess Holiday. No. Oh, you're going to give me free gaming? Okay, yeah, I'll play my video games. Kind of see it now. Price of gas is going up. Can't find people to fix your toilets. Can't find, some really key things to keep our standards of living stable, not increased, just there, just to maintain them. That capacity is quickly being eroded. And soon, I don't know how much you girls like to poop in a toilet, but your choice is going to be Thaddeus, who's borrowed money and claims to run a hedge fund, and he does. It's just with dad's money, of which he's lost, and now they're borrowed and they're effectively insolvent. Look it up. But you're going to go out with him. Or Steve, the mechanic, who can make your car run, or Bob the plumber, so that you want to poop. I don't know how desperate you're going to have to get to say, well, maybe I should date Bob the... It's not going to happen, right? So I say, let it burn. And you're going to have to let it burn till it burns out, till there's no more fuel. to where it's just like, no, we let you do what you wanted. We're now on the 7th generation of miserable, pissed off women who are angry. I don't know how many. What's the fantastic mental acrobatics and reason and rationales that going to come out 3 more generations from now? I mean, what is whatever, in the year 2100, what are the feminists going to be? Why are you going to explain that there's rolling blackouts on the electrical grid? What is it going to be? I don't know. And then soon when there's no law, and then we will go back to traditional ways, but not until it has to burn out. And I say our lives are too short to be fighting forest fires, especially ones that might cause us a little bit of damage or cost us our livelihoods. So there you go. The Menu, Life Without the Opposite Sex. It is also a feminist book. I've been sympathetic towards women on their current plight. Ladies, there's a women's menu in there. Men, there's a men's menu. And then the Book of Numbers, analyzing the ROI of the pursuit of women. There it is. Any super chats? Chris, $5. Hope I live to see the day we replace "In God We Trust" with "Hold My Beer" on quarters. I love Idiocracy. I can't wait for President Camacho. I want to see President Camacho. Emptor, $5. Cappy, the top 3 countries for men leaving the U.S. Oh, God, I don't know. You have to look it up. I don't know. Are you asking what my opinion should be or where we should go? Or are you asking like where the most guys are going? I don't really know. All I can do is, that's why I got to do reconnaissance. I know a lot of guys, personal friends of mine, they love Colombia. They love Colombia. I know Thailand is also a very highly regarded place. The Philippines. But the problem with that, guys are not a monolithic group. You may absolutely love Thailand. I may hate it because I don't know, it's humid and I don't like sandy beaches or whatever. I may love Croatia with my Croatian hut. You may hate Croatia because of the borscht. You got to go. You got to go and you got to travel. And I'm not kidding. Get the book, The Menu. I talk about that. I don't granular detail, but I'm like, here's why you got to do it and here's how you do it. Probably aside from your house, and even then, this would precipitate you buying a house. You got to figure out where you want to live. So get the menu, read the menu. But I can't tell you, it's going to be different for every guy. I'll tell you this, it's going to be where people are thin, not girls, people. Because you want to go to where a culture and a country has a bit of pride about their appearance and don't go out looking like fat pieces of garbage like Americans do. Chad Glamuzina, $2. Can't there be a happy medium between 1955 and now? Yeah, it would require everyone to make individual choices, but that's not going to happen. The welfare state is too big. I mean, we could have our modern day technology. We could remove the past bigotries and biases of the 50s, which admittedly were there. We could have, I think the cars are pretty cool looking today, modern technology. But look, the main thing, you're going to have to make it more economically attractive for women to marry men than to get a government check or to have a career. You're going to want, I'm not saying remove their ability to work. That's not what I'm saying. You certainly have the ability to work, certainly have that option to work. Men have to become the nuclear family. Love has to become more attractive than work and paying taxes. And right now, nothing is being done to counter propagandize women from just pissing away their life, working and going to school and paying taxes all the time, which I don't mind. I remember my generation. I'm like, hey, you deserve it. How was that? Was that good? Was that fun? You're almost 50 now, huh? I'm sure 50 is the new 25. Oh, look, your daughter. Cabergoon-cabulous. Welcome back. $10. In due time, my friend, with current events looming, the forest is going to burn. Men, just be lumberjack-esque and you'll see through the trees. Don't be in the forest. Don't go to the forest. Don't go to the woods. Nothing good ever happens in the woods. Where's Janice? Only a few people are going to get that. Look, we may not ever have a forest. That's why I wrote the book. Guys, I'm not joking. Half you ain't getting married. And based on early stats, 86% of you would either never be married or you'd be miserably married. So I would just, and life is too short to live with a philosophy of hope. It's too short for hope. Look at all the poor black people who voted for Obama. Hope. Are they still poor? Yes, they are. Like what, 20 years later, 15 years later, 12? No. Obama wasn't that long ago, 8 years later. You know, all these girls, they hope they're going to get a 6-figure job with their journalism degree. All right, have fun. just go and accept. All right, there we go. See you guys later. Toodles.